Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane, and it's the power of 8 at 8. I'm so glad everybody can join us. I have Eileen with me. Let me make sure she's unmuted and bring her in. It's so hard to find that little bitty button. Oh, you're going to do me like Michelle.
How did you know?
Actually, Jose started that. Jose started that, just so you guys.
How could you tell? Come on, that's not fair.
Okay, because I can hear you guys, they can't. Otherwise, it wouldn't go for so long when I do mess up and don't push the button. Because I'm sitting here, I hear you just fine, and everybody's like, we can't hear her.
I know. I was just pulling a joke on Shane, and it didn't work.
Yeah, well, that's what I asked Michelle. I'm like, are you messing with me? Because, you know, maybe her mic was muted or something, but that's so funny. Okay.
Oh, God. Just got to have a laugh on a Saturday, right?
Definitely. So how are you feeling while I send out this notification here?
Well, I'm feeling a little bit off today, to be honest with you, not in a bad way. But before you put me on, I was wondering if you just grew your mustache and your goatee. Because it just looks very, very new to me. And I know it shouldn't, right?
Right.
I just remember you clean shaven. Did I ever know you clean shaven?
Definitely not.
Wow.
Well, you might have known me when it was thin. I know everybody's like, flip back to the camera so we can see what the heck she's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you guys remember? I'm like, I don't know, Shane. This is like for you. For me, it's a new you.
That's wild. No, sometimes it's thinner, but it's always there, you know.
Okay.
It goes from thick to thin to thick to thin.
Maybe because it's darker. Maybe because you've got your winter mustache and your winter goatee on. Maybe that's the difference.
I have stopped thinning it as much as the weather gets cold. I typically do that.
Okay.
Matter of fact, if I wasn't on here, I'd probably have my beard prickly.
What, down to your knees?
No, I don't never go that big with it. But, you know, that's funny. No, my beard grows in patchy, so I can't do the Moses thing or anything like that. That'd be cool.
I'm not a fan of giant beards, but I'm sorry if anybody's got one and they're listening. I'm just not used to it. I guess the way we grew up, it was always trimmed.
Yeah.
You know, just mustaches or trimmed beards. And now the style is like right down to here, isn't it? Like down to the middle of your chest?
Yeah.
In a what is that, a rectangle?
Yeah, I guess so. I did like ZZ Top, the band. But
yeah, I love ZZ Top, but theirs were super thin and went on forever, didn't they? And they just kind of trailed off at the bottom somewhere.
Yeah. Actually, let me pull up the chat over here on this other computer.
Well, I don't have the chat, guys, as usual, but I've made some show notes from comments from last week while he's fixing up all the sound. First of all, I just noticed on your love stream, Shane, the Indian voice at the end that says, don't believe anything and don't disbelieve anything, and then you will be a sensible person.
Yeah.
Who is that? That is so awesome.
Yeah, I really like that guy. It's, I don't know. I can't remember the guy's name. It's an Indian name. Either. I can find it for you. I watch him quite a bit. But he's like this.
It's not Deepak Chopra.
No, he's this Indian guru.
Pillai.
No, it's
It's not the old guy that almost sounds like Siddhartha with a long white beard down here. He even has his own app now.
I think he has a long beard.
Maybe that is the guy that's selling meditation apps. So that you can just, when you're feeling stressed, you just go to your phone and then hit it and it'll say something really lovely to you.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Now, I don't know. He's never talked about apps, but he's sort of this guru guy that just sits there and I don't know. I'm just...
I think I know. I think I know which one.
Let's see.
So if you're a sensible person,
I think it's Sadhu, S-A-D-H-U. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Sadhu.
Sadhu. I don't know how you pronounce that.
I know who you mean. White hair, white beard that goes down to his tummy.
Yeah. That might be a different guy. I'll find it, though. Yeah. I love that, though, because it's his way of saying the whole unbiased and on the fence thing that
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
so sensible.
Yeah.
It says don't believe anything
Yeah.
and don't disbelieve anything, and then you'll be a very sensible person. I'm like,
Right.
duh,
And he says, I
yeah,
consider everything. I love
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Everything's a possibility, right?
Right.
And then Super Clary Sage, I don't know if she's in the chat yet, but she would like someone local. I don't know which state she's in, or virtually online to do a Power of Eight group with her in the smaller framework, like Lynne McTaggart recommends, like like
Yep.
five
She's
to
here.
eight people. Hey, Clary
Shout out
Sage.
this. Yep.
So she wants to get together with a small group of people where you get together virtually and you can get like a free room in Zoom, right?
Yeah.
If there's less than 10 or something, and then you work on each other's intentions. You change your own life by helping the group change their life, and you don't have to deal with all of these huge global issues that we do here every Saturday night. But you can always put a request down in the comments, and all the people in our community will do a prayer and a healing for you on their own time as well. But I hope
Well,
she can get a Power of Eight group going. I can't join because I'm taking a couple of classes next year.
she's in Washington State, so I'm
Oh,
sure she can.
okay.
Sure, she can find somebody up there.
I mean, I'd love to have a little group in person that meets. That would be super cool. But I'd
I
be
thought you
happy to
did,
do.
don't you?
No, no, I got three people who wanted to do it, and then we all got super busy.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's kind of a hold this space. They're like, maybe they'll have time to do it. Maybe I'll have time to do it. Right now, it doesn't look like I'm going to have time anytime soon.
I see. Yeah, it is something that I guess you got to carve out that time every week to do it or whatever. And,
I think it's worthwhile. I've got BQH online starting in January, and I'm doing the Lynne McTaggart masterclass for 12 months.
oh,
And you
nice.
have to meet once a week for that. So I feel like if I did an extra group or two plus this show, I would feel like overly saturated,
Yeah, because you've got
probably.
your job too, so that's
Yeah, yeah. I've got a family, I got a job, I got a house, I got dogs to take care of.
yeah.
You
This
know.
is a job. Once you hit that certain level, it's like a job. I mean, you don't really have time
Yeah,
for much of anything else. I do like every now and then I'll do something on the side, but it's more like that's the part-time job, and this is still the main
that was
thing.
so nice. Maybe I'll get there eventually. Maybe eventually, most of my work will be in meditation, somehow tied to meditation and intentions. Not so fancy Nancy. Hello, big kisses and hugs. I don't know if she's in the room yet. I noticed that you changed your icon picture and it makes you look even younger. She looks about 15 in it. And she does in person too. She looks like she's about 21, 22 years old, and she's a grown up mom.
Wow.
Okay, big question for everybody today. When do we start calling Ronnie in Virginia? When does that happen?
Yeah, we were wondering the same thing. Well, we've already got Vanessa VA. We're gonna have a Ronnie VA maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And maybe she's going to change her name entirely, or maybe she's going to confuse everybody by keeping it Ronnie in Florida.
yeah. Who knows? Yeah, we know
Uh,
her as Ronnie in Florida now.
well, we'll hear from her later tonight, probably. Nicholas Simpson, hi, if you're in the room. I know you're on a totally different time zone. What is it, Australia or New
She's in the
Zealand?
future. Yeah, it's actually Sunday for her right now.
Well, she always watches these retroactively, and in the last one, she did a wonderful comment after the show with all kinds of suggestions for people to protect themselves psychically before they enter into meditative or intention work or astral traveling,
Yeah,
like out of body stuff. She had some really good suggestions, and
that's funny
I
because I
thought,
protect myself before pretty much anything I do. I'm like, it won't hurt. Why not ask for some, protection? And
well, I do too. And I guess this is a good time to talk about that because I wrote a note to myself to talk about it. When we come together as a group here and we entrain our thoughts and our hearts through the heart breathing
hmm
and by intending the same thing at the same time, that's your entrainment portion. But before we get there, we ground ourselves to the earth, which is very protective, and we do protective bubbles of light. We fill a light bubble around ourselves of whatever color we want.
hmm
That kind of keeps us a little bit separate as we come together. And we imagine a beautiful, peaceful, loving place, which is heart maths. Because Lynne McTaggart, people asked her, how do we protect ourselves before we come together, like 15,000 people on November 12th, doing the Middle East peace intention, right?
right.
From all over the world. She had these groups. And then we joined live with those groups right here on YouTube, I think, or maybe she did it through Zoom or something. I don't know. And her way is that you relax, take a few deep breaths, and then you imagine what you love doing. And then close your eyes and picture it, see it, smell it, taste it, feel it. Just imagine doing what you absolutely love. That could be teaching, it could be snowboarding, it could be cutting hair, it could be taking care of people, it could be sewing or crafting, it could be anything that you really love. And she says that that puts up an energetic protection that nothing can pierce, and that now you're ready to do like a peace intention, a global intention, a healing intention for a loved one, without necessarily taking on the negativity of what you're focusing on.
Yeah, I like that.
I do too. I've never heard that anywhere. I read this book called Psychic Self Defense when I was like 15 years old, and it had a lot of different ways to do it, but basically when you wake up in the morning, it said if you want to protect yourself psychically and have it last the whole day, you tell it to last the whole day so that you're free at night to explore, or maybe you want it there at night too, who knows, is that you put yourself in that bubble of light and you make it blue, which is the archangel blue. It's kind of a blue, purple, indigo. And then on the outside of it, you cover it with a mirror, and then you instruct the mirror. So you're in this egg, you're visualizing you're in this egg.
Mm-hmm.
You instruct the mirror to let through anything that's positive and loving and good for you, and to reflect back to the sender anything that's negative, harmful, or bad for you. And that's it. Now you're ready to go through your whole day, meditate, pray, go to work, deal with like angry customers, deal with cranky kids or cranky parents, and you've got that mirror around you that's going to allow the good in and reflect back the bad. I like that one too.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that sounds more like, sending bad stuff back to bad people, sending bad stuff at you, though, doesn't it? I don't know.
That's what I thought, but it's not, because you make it reflective. So basically,
You're
if they're
sending back
getting,
the opposite then, since it's a
well, no,
reverse of.
that would be nice. That would be the kinder thing and gentler thing to do, but then you'd have to transmute their negative energy into something positive and send it back to them, which
Right.
would be a really cool thing to do. And how hard is that? But you're right. Literally, it's letting the good through. And if anything is sent negative your way, emotional daggers, etc., it just automatically reflects it back to the sender, so they can't send you anything. And then as soon as they feel that negative energy coming back at them, they stop. They're like, "Oh, I don't want to do this." And I don't think they even realize it. I think they stop subconsciously sending you the negative vibes because it feels really bad when they do, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
And you're not harming them. You're letting their negativity harm them. And then that stops them from doing it, I think, because it doesn't feel good. But you're not actually trading negativity. Like somebody says something mean to you, you say something mean to them. They send it to you bigger, you send it to them bigger. You're
You're just
not doing
shielding
that.
yourself, and they're just experiencing what they're sending out. So you're really
They're
not
just
even part of the equation.
experiencing
Yeah.
what they're sending out, which is
Yeah.
not a bad thing.
Right.
Unless they don't get it and they keep doing it, and they just don't get
And
that
get
their
more and more
negativity.
angry and keep trying harder and harder and get more and more angry, and it snowballs into them just destroying themselves.
Oh my God. Then we got to go save them and give them hugs and kisses and say, "I love you. I forgive you. Stop destroying yourself."
Right. But I feel it too, I can feel people that, maybe they don't agree, and they get angry at me for things I say and stuff. But I also feel like in a much stronger way, the love that I feel from people and the love that they're sending me. And that sort of washes away any kind of bad thing. So even though I surround myself with protection and do things like that, I can still feel those energies. I
But you think you
often,
don't need it. You're like, "I'm cool. I'm chill. If they
yeah,
want to disagree, let them disagree, you
I,
know?"
I often hear what they say in my head, and then it will make me respond to it right away. It's like, well, just listen for a second, but I just sometimes I just kind of ignore it, but I can hear the thought, that popped in.
I've
Oh, they
seen you
just,
respond so gently to some really upset people.
yeah,
Just real gentle, where you're not denying their feelings. That's the worst thing you can do. If somebody's really upset, do not deny their feelings. Let them express it, and then just go, "Wow, I hope," what did you say? I hope it all works out. And in the end, it usually does. What a brilliant response to anything. I hope it
Oh,
all works
that
out.
was a
And
real
it usually
recent one.
does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm paying attention.
Well, I read the whole thing and I'm like, this looks like one of those comments where he just felt like he really took a load off after he wrote it, and it just
And
made him feel
maybe they
better.
need to. Maybe we help people with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did a Mandela video recently and it was a fun one. And there's only a few negative comments and I've left them all. And they're all like, this is donkey poo. And I'm like, okay, I can leave that one up. I don't mind donkey poo. Or you're a crazy lady. Okay, I'm kidding. You're not really crazy, but this is not true, And I'm like, okay, I can leave that one up too.
Right. Yeah, and I like that one you did. It's probably almost been a week now about NPCs and stuff because often the
That's the last
subject,
video I did. Yeah.
yeah, often the subject comes up, and I
Yeah.
agree with what you're saying. It's really a slippery slope to start considering people as not being equal with you, or
Not
you
being
know,
human.
right? Because imagine that you're in a barracks, right, and you're the first one maybe to wake up. It doesn't mean you're better than anyone else asleep in the barracks. It just means you were the first to wake up. So when we're
Yeah.
talking about
And it
this
doesn't mean that the
awakening,
others aren't going to wake up
right,
eventually,
right,
right?
or that they're any less than you just because you happen to wake up a few minutes before them, it doesn't make you any better. It just means that you're more aware of what's going on. They're still in dream world for right now, but
Oh,
you know,
Olivia, Olivia. Hi, if she's in there. Hi, everybody. I can't see who's in there,
Luke,
not until
Olivia,
afterwards.
Luke, is it
Yeah,
okay?
Olivia Luke.
Yeah,
She was like, oh, I thought NPCs were just, um, you're the main character in your show, and people you don't know are the NPCs in your world, and then you're the NPC in their world
yeah,
because they're the main character. And I said, Olivia, that is the kindest, gentlest description I've ever heard.
yeah,
If everybody thought that's what an NPC was, I'd be like, total. I'd be like, yeah, yeah, that's cool. And in a way, that's exactly what it is.
yeah.
If you think about it, non-player character are all those people out there who are souls and humans, evolving. They matter, and they're just not in your game, your
Right.
immediate game.
Right. And if they
So,
are, maybe they're there as the adversary and you're to trigger you and stuff. But it doesn't mean they're not a person. But I think, when
and
you
it
look
doesn't
at
mean that we have to like them. I was
right.
thinking about that. We were thinking about all these trigger people who give us something to push against so we can become better and
Yeah.
stronger and more evolved.
Yeah.
So they do serve a purpose, but that doesn't mean that we have to accept their abuses or like their abuses, right? We
Yeah.
don't have to,
No. We
but
just
we
have
can
to love them.
appreciate the job they did.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
love
we just
them
have to love them. We just
for
have to love
for
them. It
playing
doesn't
their
mean
role. Thank them for playing their role, basically, because knowing that ultimately it's making us a better person. So that's why I always say the secret shopper thing. Because then it takes it to where you're like, no, I got to be on my best behavior with this person, not treat them like less of a person. Because if you go to someone's house, they're triggering you, and you realize they're the secret shopper that's going to be reporting back to your boss on what kind of service you gave them. Then you're going to be on your best behavior, even if they don't deserve it. So that's why I always say they're secret
yeah.
shoppers, because they're there to trigger you. But it's your job not to be triggered and to still treat them just as good as you would your best friend.
Your best shoppers, your
Right.
friendliest, nicest people. Here's the
Exactly.
dilemma that we always get into, and we always feel like we solve it on this channel. I know we do. Just because we're good people. I mean, I'm not being an egoist, but good people know how to get over these hurdles in a
Yeah.
kind, considerate way.
Hmm.
So you've got someone doing something that's bad. And let's say it harms an animal, or it harms a person or a child, or it harms a whole group of people if it's the government doing something bad. Is it against their free will if you stand up and say, no, please don't harm that child? No, please don't hurt those animals before you put them into the food
Yep.
system? No, please don't bomb that country. It's my country. I'm asking you not to do it. Are we actually interfering with their free will? Can't we love them and forgive them and also try to stop the harm they're doing?
Definitely. Yeah.
I guess that's my point, is that we do have a right to a non-harmful society, right?
Definitely. Yeah,
Without
because
stepping on people's toes or free will. I mean, we're stopping their free will because they want to harm things.
right. In essence, they're like usually in these instances they're intruding on someone else's free will. So at that point, it's your free will to step in or not, right?
Ah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
That's like I think about the
It's
times
tricky.
when I've jumped in on stuff. I see these kids beating up on this other kid. I would have felt more guilty about not getting out of my car and trying to
Yeah.
break it up than just to sit there and say, "Well, it's their free will to jump on this kid and beat him up. Well, it was my
Was he
free will to
enjoying
get
it?
out and.
Because I got out of a car in England thinking I was stopping some little kid getting beaten up by his classmates. And I'm like, no, 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 stop, don't do that. And the little kid was like, why? And I'm like, are you enjoying this? And he went, yeah. And I went, okay, bye, sorry, carry on, carry on. They grabbed his backpack and they surrounded him and they wouldn't let him have it back. And he was really, really short and really cute. And everybody else was really, really tall. And I was like, that's mean. So I
No.
pulled over and got out and I grabbed his backpack and I'm like, stop it, here you go. And the little kid was like, why? Why are you stopping this? This was fun.
Right. No, this kid was bloody. He was like really tall. He was like
Um,
probably taller than me, probably 6'2" ish, 6'3" maybe. And, middle school, real tall though. And then he had like four short guys, 4 or 5 short kids like jumped him, you know what I mean? So it was kind of even
oh
just
my
because they were so short.
God.
But, they were getting the best of them. I mean, how can you fight off 4 people, when
What'd you
they're
do?
all
Did you
like.
stop it?
I just pushed them apart. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm thinking because the you've got all these cars picking up their kid from school, and I'm like, there's no way somebody's
Mine too.
not gonna pull out their phone, and then I got to be super careful that I'm
Oh
I'm
my
pushing them away because
God.
I
Yeah.
could totally get myself in trouble if it looks like I'm hitting a
Yeah.
kid or something.
Yeah.
So it was
Get in
just
trouble for assault as an adult on
yeah,
kids, but how can you not stop somebody from getting the crap beaten out of them?
yeah,
I would have to do something too.
yeah,
Or an animal.
yeah,
If you see somebody torturing an animal, I'd be straight in there.
right.
I know a few other people who would too, and that's Sherry from Overprotected. She'd be straight in there.
Oh, right,
Actually, Sherry would be in there if you were hurting anything, anyone, anywhere,
yeah.
anytime.
That's funny. Hey, Roger, what's up, buddy? I always see
Hi,
Roger
Roger.
with all the hearts and stuff there.
Gonna say hi to everybody, see who's in. Okay, so we talked about Lynne McTaggart self-protection. We talked about we protect ourselves in this show for sure. For sure, for sure, for sure.
Hmm.
Um, oh, Pam Lang had an awesome quote. Remember we were talking about ADHD
Hmm.
being part of this new evolution of consciousness in children. She just put down a few words in the after show comments, and she said, "Yeah, ADHA, attention dialed to a higher dimension." How nice is
Ah,
that?
I like that.
Attention dialed to a higher dimension. Oh, definitely.
And you know what? It's kind of funny that I was taking pharmaceuticals for mine up until the time I came across the Mandela effect. But then I had no problem focusing at that point. I was like on the Mandela effect 24/7. You know what I mean? So I didn't need my brain
It was
wasn't
like
wandering to other
sucking you
things.
in.
Yeah, and so yeah, it helped that I got out of that, and now I'm focused on this. So I feel like
But now you're all peaceful and calm. You're like a guru. Not a guru like follow me, do what I say. So
right.
that's a bad word. But, were you not all peaceful and calm and chill before? Or was it just you couldn't focus on like one thing at a time, like math, chemistry, English? People get bored. Their attention kind of wanders if they're
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah, I guess it was a lot of boredom. No, but I was still amped up. It's kind of funny how you take these stimulants and you think it would make you more amped up, but at the
But it
same time,
calms you down.
yeah, it actually calms you down.
Well, I mean, I've heard don't do this, guys, but they've said if you give chilled babies coffee, they'll fall asleep. And I'm like, ooh, I wouldn't want to give them a stimulant to make them fall asleep. But that's what I've heard, that it has the opposite effect
Yeah, it
on
can.
babies than it does on us.
Yeah, warm coffee can definitely put me to sleep. Then I wake up like an hour later, like,
Are you serious?
yeah, I guess the warmth of it or something, but
Oh, wow.
yeah.
No, I have to stop drinking. I'm a little on the hyper side, so I actually have to stop drinking coffee by 2 p.m. I'm not one of those people. I lived in England for decades, and everybody would bring out the coffee after dinner, and it was such a lovely thing to have a cup of coffee after dinner. And I'm like, I can't do it. I'll be like this all night long till 5 in the morning, right?
Yeah, you just get used to it like anything else, like,
And
you
then,
just,
like when I lived in Egypt and Trinidad, it's full of English people. British people are all over the world. They've never stopped, like being everywhere all over the world, even though the empire seems to have shrunk. Not really. And they drink hot tea and hot coffee when it's like 100, 140, 120 degrees. And they said it actually cools them off. They sip a hot drink and then they feel cooler.
how does that make sense? I worked with a maintenance man that was like that.
It works. It must work. I didn't do it. I'm American. I was shoving, No, we couldn't use ice cubes unless we made them with bottled water because that's how you get really sick. You watch what you eat, you watch what you drink, and then you have a cocktail with ice cubes in it, and you have no idea where those ice cubes came from. What kind of water was used.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of weird to have to worry about your ice cubes like that. Like
Yeah, definitely.
drink your drink before they melt too much.
Never. It's because we lived there. We never had an ice cube that was not handmade. And we didn't eat salad unless we washed it ourselves because they flood the canals with Balharzi, which is this little amoeba that can go in under toenails and stuff, and it gets people pretty sick. And they just, they've got no running water. Well, they don't have a lot of running water. It's arid. It's a desert. So they flood the canals, and then the lettuce comes out. And if you rinse it under the sink quickly, you're eating Balharzi. So we had to take all our vegetables and put them in a pan, the kind of pan I'm talking about, like where you'd soak your feet, like a foot pan.
Wait, where is this at again?
Balharzi?
Belharzi. What country
Yeah.
is it?
Oh, in Egypt, on the Nile,
Okay, gotta
where all the
remember.
vegetables, beautiful
Gotta mark,
vegetables, but
make a mental note not to go there. I'm just playing.
and then we put our vegetables in this pan or pot, and then we put these chlorine tablets, they're called. It's like pure bleach. And we'd be bleaching our veggies and then rinsing them and then eating them. I'm still here to tell the tale, so if the bleach didn't get me, but it's those kinds of things when people visit these countries, they forget about the ice cubes and they forget about do not eat raw vegetables. You're okay with the bread, no lunch meats, you're okay with cheese, and you're okay with really well cooked hot meats and soups.
Hmm,
So,
that's interesting.
yeah, it is.
So, how far is that from like the pyramids?
It's right there because the pyramids are right outside of Cairo. The Giza Strip is right across the Nile, across the bridges. There's many bridges,
Mm-hmm.
and then across from it, there's a few Bedouin villages with stables for
Mm-hmm.
horseback riding at the pyramids or camel riding at the pyramids.
That'd be cool.
And yeah, and then they have this light show at night where everything lights up at night. It's really beautiful. And then right across the bridges is Cairo. So it's huge. That is a Mandela effect for some people. I've read where they've said, when did the pyramids move to Cairo? They always saw pictures of them that made it look like they were sitting in the middle of the desert. I gotta admit, that's how they photographed them.
Yeah. Have it
Yeah,
more natural looking. Yeah, it's been that way for me. But yeah, it's always been
yeah.
Cairo for me.
So they always photograph them from one angle, which would be let's see, the east side,
Yeah.
which shows nothing but desert behind them. Because if you went to the other side of the pyramids and you photographed them from the west side, you would see nothing but city and greenery around the Nile and boats and feluccas and bridges and cars and lots of camels and donkeys too. It is a wonderful, magical place. I have to say, I really, really, really love Egypt. Which segues us into a very interesting topic. I'm wondering how many people out there have noticed that if we do a meditation for something globally, suddenly you start seeing news, not even if you don't watch the news. You see YouTube videos or people bring it up in conversation, exactly the topic that you were working on that Saturday night. For me, just keeps coming up and up and up all week long. Does that happen to you, Shane?
Yeah, and it seems like the just like we talked about the fires that one night, but didn't really do it. But we all discussed that everybody was going to get together and do the rain thing at like 11:11 that night, or I think
Yep.
that's when it was. But
Yeah, it
and
was.
then like the next day, I'm watching the news and I hear about torrential rains causing problems with mudslides, and I was like, oh my gosh, what have we done?
We don't know how powerful we are. Oh my God. Well, hey, didn't that torrential rain put out like 75% of those fires anyway?
Yeah, I
So it
think
was a
it
pretty
helped a lot.
blessed thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm finding the same thing.
Well, like
So you
Yemen, we talked about.
Yeah. So you know how a couple of weeks ago we did peace
Hmm.
and we focused on peace in Yemen because they're starving. They haven't had food and medicine for 3 years. Can't The whole country is blockaded, so nothing can come into it for 3 years from Saudi Arabia, but we're their BFFs and we give Saudi Arabia all of its planes, bombs. tanks, they buy everything from us. So in that way, it appears that we're doing it because we're looking the other way as there's a potential genocide of millions and millions of starving people.
Hmm.
Okay, so we discuss it, we do our intention for it, and it immediately comes up the next week. People are talking about it on YouTube channels. I'm not taking credit for it here. I'm just saying it's an interesting coincidence, right? Suddenly more people are talking about it. Then Lynne McTaggart does the big Middle East peace intention, and
Hmm.
I did that with her group, and there's people in every country. And now Bernie Sanders and a few other senators have put forward a vote next week in the Senate. Congress has been blocked from voting on the war in Yemen because technically we're not at war. We're only supplying all the military stuff. We're not taking our soldiers and having them drop the stuff. We're just giving it all to Saudi Arabia so they can drop it.
Hmm.
So there's some senators who put together a bill that's being voted on next week on whether or not we should pull out 100% from aiding the Yemen war, which means no more guns, no more bombs, no more planes, no more tanks, no arms can be sold to Saudi Arabia to be used against Yemen because of the humanitarian millions and millions of people starving to death right now. So that's a wonderful bill, right? And then if the Senate passes it, I think it goes to the House, right? And then it's in effect. We legally cannot sell any arms to Saudi Arabia. We can sell arms to them, but not to use in Yemen.
Mm.
Like, who's going to track that, right? If we keep selling them arms, is anybody actually going to go with the arms to make sure that they're not used in Yemen? And the other problem with the bill is there's a rider on it, a provision, unless the Saudis are killing terrorists. If there's any terrorists in Yemen and American weapons are being used to kill those terrorists, then it's okay, they can keep doing it. I'm like, oh man, that was almost a good bill, you know? Nearly, almost. Because of course they're going to say somebody's a terrorist, right?
Yeah, and they've got to get everybody on board. It seems like to get bills to get passed these days. So that
But
was
maybe our intention of this power of intention, we really, we do these things here. A small group of like, I'd say between 70 and 100 people do it live every week, and then 1,000 people do it the following week, and that's about it. But that's a lot of people, and that's a lot of power. I think it's working. I guess that's what I wanted to tell you guys is, at least in my world, when we do a group intention, I start to see the effects all over the place afterwards.
that's wonderful. Yeah, I believe it's happening, and it's just I've sort of been surprised at how well it's happening. Because I didn't
I
expect.
know.
But I think that's maybe to encourage us to keep doing it and stuff.
Get a vote on Yemen in 2 or 3 weeks after doing our intention, when before that not a word was said. The mainstream media, very little on YouTube, very, very little. And then suddenly it's everywhere. I think that's so cool. But I'm wondering, it makes me like wonder about my reality. Is it only happening in my reality bubble because it's so important to me? Or is it happening in everybody's reality bubble?
And they
I
just see
don't
it as
know.
coincidental or whatever. They just have no idea of the connection. So have
Is
you
it just
seen any?
happening for us? Just our group? Is just our group experiencing the success and there's other reality bubbles out there where they're not getting any of this?
Those are really good points. And there's no way to
Ah,
get out of our little bubble to see.
we can't get out of our bubbles to
That's been this
see.
whole problem with the Mandela effect this whole time. It's like, man, if I could just somehow put myself in someone else's perspective bubble for a while, I think I
A
could.
little periscope out of the bubble, looking
Yeah,
into other people's bubbles and going, is your bubble the same?
right.
Is it the same in there?
And then, but since you have to trust what people say, and you don't know if, like, when they say they're 100% sure, if they take that as seriously as if you really knew that, because I know how uncertain I am about my memory, but I also know how
I don't have a
certain,
great memory. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, human memories they get worse as you get older, and human memories are not perfect, but Mandela effects can be proven. You can prove them because they're residuals. You can go, here's the research. They say they've never changed it. The company says it never changed it. And here's residuals of what it was like before.
Yeah.
That's not bad memory. That's proof.
You know, my wife was just looking at a post on, I think she said it was Facebook or something, and they were talking about, all these people were talking about this new scent from Febreze or something. They said it smelled like hot damn alcohol or something. Anyway, it was like a cinnamony
What?
smell,
Oh, okay.
so you know, while they were talking about it, everyone was spelling it wrong or the right way that we remember it. But someone was like, actually, like, you know, it's actually spelled like this, and they only had one thumb up, and it just made me realize how even as effective as we try to be with getting the word out and telling people, most people still don't know. Most people, you
No,
know, just like the majority of people like on Facebook or just I mean, when we think of it as a household name, I don't think we've reached that point of it like
we
most.
haven't saturated yet, have
Yeah,
we? But I think there's millions of us. Do you think there's millions of us now who are Mandela affected?
I don't
There's
know.
a lot of us.
It depends on how you feel. If you're kind of in our community, then you feel like maybe that. But as soon as you go and hang out at a family reunion and like you're the only person out of dozens of people, you know, then all of a sudden it starts to feel a lot like there's only a few. So I don't know.
Well, I got to tell you guys, there's a great show. I saw Jamie in there today. There's a great show called SMQAI and Chick on Saturday afternoons. They do something called the Lost and Found Bin. And although I don't agree with all of the concepts presented, I've got to say it's a smart place to go and listen to and comment and debate the Mandela effect because they've moved on from this is changing, this is changing, that's changing. Now they're at a point where they're like, well, now what do we do with it? Now that we know all this stuff is changing, now what? What's the next step? And today they were talking about this kind of like if this is the new consciousness, if we are the tiny little pieces of the new human consciousness, what does that mean in our future when everybody knows that matter is flexible and changeable and it responds to your emotions and it responds to your thoughts, it responds to collective thoughts, it responds to collective emotions? Are the ruling elite really going to let the whole world figure this out? I can't see how they can stop it. I really don't. I don't know. I don't think they can stop this, right?
Very good question. I don't know.
Because then their power disappears. This is so self-empowering.
Sometimes
This
it
is
feels like they are stopping it to me. So
well, I,
already,
I
you
saw
know.
an ad this week for a new drug for Parkinson's, and a few of my family members have had Parkinson's, and I know it's a very degenerative mental as well as physical disease. But I didn't like what they were saying because it was a wife saying, um, doesn't even know, you don't even see the guy, you don't know what he's got, just a brand new drug. And she goes, when he started to believe in things that weren't true, I knew we needed some help. Boom. This drug will take care of your loved one who believes in things that aren't true. Parkinson's. I'm like, huh? Huh? That just sounded so Mandela effect targeted. I
Yeah.
really was like, ooh, it just like, it gave me the heebie jeebies and shivers up my spine. I didn't like it because I thought, if that's the only way that they can keep their power is to make sure nobody ever gets their power by understanding that they naturally have the power to create matter, change matter, manipulate matter, edit matter, change reality, edit reality, manipulate reality, steer reality. You know, if that empowers everybody, what happens to the ruling elite? We're no longer their little wage slaves, watching their little programs and buying their crap.
Yeah. That's crazy when you think about that. You know,
So
it seems like though, like what you were just saying there, that like there is this effort that on their part to plant these little seeds. You know, so if somebody is telling you about, if your mom tells you about the Mandela effect, and then you were kind of paying attention, or maybe you just, you know, kind of like people do, just kind of,
sorry, guys.
it's okay, halfway paying attention to it or whatever, then it's like, you know, then that seed of what they just planted with the Parkinson's thing, you know, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, maybe mom has Parkinson's. Instead of looking at the Mandela effect, Now they're looking at the health, and it's sort of redirected their attention from what the person was trying to say, their mom telling them about the Mandela effect, to I wonder if she's coming down with something that we didn't know about, you know.
And what about us? What about
Yeah,
us who are in our 50s and 40s and
yeah.
60s and our children going, I wonder if they've got Parkinson's early onset because they believe in the Mandela effect. That's really interesting. So, I mean, don't take anything. And you know what? If you're drinking water, I really, really highly recommend that you get a reverse osmosis or a distiller because you can buy these ionic minerals,
Hmm.
and I know they're like $20 a bottle, but you put like an eyedropper in a gallon of water because it's ionic or ionized minerals once you've got your distilled water or once you've got your reverse osmosis. So you can buy a distiller and you can buy a countertop reverse osmosis that will make, like 10,000 gallons of water a year for you to drink and cook with.
And that's that little device you showed us a while back, right? So
Yeah,
you could
I'm
actually
really happy with it.
say you had okay, say the water went down or something, and you put buckets out and collected rainwater. Could you pour it through? That
I
is,
need electricity for it, so I need a generator.
okay.
But I did buy one of those camping water cleaners. You wind it up,
Oh, okay.
and then it takes out the bacteria. But it certainly doesn't do what the reverse osmosis does, which takes out all the lead, all the fluoride, all the anything that's in there, so that at the end of it, you've got pure, 100% pure water. And then
Nice,
I add a little bit of oxygen to it, and I add minerals to it, so it tastes like real water.
nice. So it makes it more flavorful then.
Yeah, and I did it to decalcify my pituitary gland
Yeah.
and my third eye, which is one and the same. They think the third eye is the pituitary, no, pineal gland.
Yeah.
Pineal gland. But actually, by drinking reverse osmosis water, it'll decalcify all my glands.
Hmm.
Because I actually have nodules, little hard calcified nodules all over my thyroid from drinking water.
Hmm. That's
And we'll see
weird.
if I can reverse that. I'd have to have another ultrasound on it to see if they went away, but they're already there and they're kind of made out of calcium. So
Do you
I,
do you take or use uh, non-fluoride toothpaste and stuff like
I
that?
do. I
Okay.
do. I use non-fluoride toothpaste, but I wouldn't recommend that for everybody if they have, I don't know. I'm not sure whether it prevents cavities or not. I don't know if that's all a lie or if there's any truth to that at all. So I do it for myself. I don't recommend it for everybody. They all have to kind of look it up and make your own decisions.
I always felt like it was complete BS, but I don't know, to be honest
I
with
think you're
you.
right because one, two, I've had 2.5 cavities. I've had two lower cavities, and I'm 50. I don't even know how old I'm. 50. I'm 57. Two lower cavities and a little half a cavity where I kind of chip something on a bone. So they just fill it, and that's lifetime. And I haven't had, occasionally I'll use a fluoridated toothpaste if I have to, but usually I use Dr. Bronner's, is it? They do great soaps and toothpaste, and it
Hmm.
tastes real. And
Yeah,
their soaps are awesome.
that's
They're all
cool.
organic. They're just really cool.
Yeah, and I remember being a kid at the dentist and them actually putting the like fluoride coating or whatever on your
I
teeth or
got
whatever.
that.
Yeah.
And then I got a fluoride wash, and then I got hypothyroidism, and I found out that fluoride is the worst thing for the thyroid. But then my mom got hypothyroidism, my grandma, my sister, my daughter. So it could be genetic too, but I know fluoride is just, it's so hard on the body. But I was just thinking if they add something else to the water to stop Mandela affected people, thinking that everything's changing around them. I don't know. If there's a drug that helps Parkinson's people not experience delusions, is what it said. It removes their delusions. How does it do that?
It's almost a lot of times I watch TV if I watch for a minute walking by or whatever because I don't watch TV. But if I do catch something, it's almost like everything is a comedy now. You know, when
It
you see through it,
is.
isn't it? The news,
Yes.
especially the news, but
Oh my
commercials
God.
and like may cause death, irritable bowel syndrome, and they name all the
You're
stuff,
like,
and I'm like,
Dad, give me some of that.
yeah, really. It's like, wow, somebody really wants to try that out, huh?
And then
That's
when you
funny.
do see the news, they say the stupidest things. You're like, is anybody really buying this anymore? So then I realized, wow, we really have changed. We really have changed.
But there's a large population that still buys it, hook, line, and sinker.
I don't know how, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I think it must be something in the water. Seriously.
Definitely.
Something in the water is making them buy the news.
All right. So the fluoride is multi-purpose, I see, but it's not cavities.
Hey, the Nazis used it as a gas to sedate their prisoners because everybody said, oh, there's 10,000 prisoners and 100 guards. How did they get away with it? Fluoride. Apparently, they used fluoride.
That's very cool. So I was
Yeah.
actually thinking, do we have a topic for this evening as far as I don't know.
Well, if you have a topic, because I was thinking with the Senate vote coming up, I mean, can you believe America's going to vote on whether or not we should sell arms to Saudi Arabia to use against 18 million starving people? That's a pretty significant thing happening this week. And the only reason that we're participating in the genocide is to make money because we want to sell them our arms.
Hmm.
So it's pure greed. They're like, no, we don't want to kill people in Yemen. We don't mind the Yemenis, but we like selling, X $100 billion a year of arms to Saudi Arabia, who are using that to completely destroy every Yemenis person alive.
Right.
So, I thought that might be a good one.
Right. Kind of has an expiration date on it, though. What do you think about water?
Um,
That's kind of an
Water would be
ongoing one.
cool. Water would be cool.
Because I'm not sure. Okay, so we had the journalist that came out of there, right? And then he was, I just don't know that if anything we're hearing coming out of Yemen is even true, to be honest with you. I have doubts that anything we hear
Yeah.
about that is even true at this point. I mean, I just have
The only
serious
reason
doubts.
I think it's true is if you look at the map, Yemen is all on the coast, it's all on the water.
Yeah.
And Saudi Arabia is huge right above it. And if Saudi Arabia takes over all of Yemen, it will have the whole coast
Uh,
of that region will be 100% Saudi. So I think it might be true for that reason. And also because it was suppressed in America and the only news you could get on Yemen was from Canada and Australia and Germany and Britain. You
hmm.
couldn't get anything out of the United States on it because they didn't want Americans are so soft and so soppy, they didn't want us knowing that we were selling arms to destroy an entire country of people.
They still do a pretty good job at suppressing information, even with the internet and everything. They just have a way of sort of
Yeah,
directing.
so why all of a sudden is the New York Times coming out with stories on Yemen? Because their journalist got killed by the Saudi family in Saudi Arabia while reporting on Yemen. Why didn't they just bury that? All of a sudden you start to suspect, why is Bernie Sanders coming forward with this bill for the Senate? I don't know. It's really sad because at first there is no information and you do a group intention to end any suffering there. And then suddenly all these things start coming out of the mainstream and you start to doubt them
Yeah.
because we know that the mainstream doesn't deal in truth.
Did you get any confirmations with the forgiveness one or the truth one that we did last week? We talked about the same things.
Yeah. Did you get some? I got a lot.
I've been in a little bubble the last week or two, just reading and researching. So, no, I
Did
didn't
you get
really.
any truth revelations?
Um, I don't know. Personally, I don't know. I just meant on a global scale. I felt more like it was you know, I don't know. Like I said, I've been in a bubble, so I don't really know. But,
I started seeing more on YouTube, just like with NASA, never a straight answer, right?
yeah.
Disclosing that the firmaments hold water, that not only that there are planets coming close by, but that we probably do have a binary sun. And I'm like, well, why is NASA suddenly shifting gears to support these truths that they've been hiding all these years? Is it because of the work we're doing, or did I draw it to me because we did the meditation on truth, that all truth will out? And there was something, and I can't remember what it was now, that is all truth coming out, like you said, a good thing if it all comes out at once? I hope so.
We should probably put that disclaimer in there, if it's for the better good of everyone, because too much at one time might just. I mean, we remember when that, what was that one, War of the Worlds broadcast, and people thought that was real, and they went jumping off buildings and stuff because they thought aliens were really invading, and you know what I mean? So I guess, from a higher level, I feel like I can handle pretty much anything they could present, but
But maybe not 100% of the world can
yeah,
deal with the Mandela effect. Maybe if the 100% of the world suddenly saw the Mandela effect happening all around them all the
they just
time,
feel
it would
like they're going crazy.
totally freak them out. Yeah.
And maybe that's really our purpose, to be here to create this base of people that see it, we understand, so that the larger population can wake up to it and find us easily without, going over the deep end too quick, and like us
Have you
having the
noticed more
books.
and more Mandela people getting very like calm and spiritual, like, hey, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
Have you
that is
noticed
pretty
that?
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Because in the beginning, you were the only channel that I could find that wasn't fire and brimstone on the Mandela effect. This is the end of the world. This is CERN, D-Wave, demon, Satan,
I
you
have
know.
stopped watching the ones that were doing that, so I don't know if they're still doing that or not either. So I can't really
They
say,
are.
but
They are like some
okay.
of the famous ones.
Yeah.
And they're really good at it. It's very entertaining, but I can't watch it anymore either.
Yeah, it's ultimately, it's like it's. What made me realize that was that it was like the people that were saying it was happening that were ultra religious, the people that said it wasn't happening that were ultra religious, were saying the same exact thing. So it didn't really matter if it was really happening or not, because it was the devil's doing. It was Satan doing it, either making people believe it or doing the changes.
Or
But whatever,
changing,
it was the
making the changes.
same,
Yeah.
conclusion, whether it was happening or not. And I was like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense to be on each side of the fence about whether it's happening or not. But you're coming to the same conclusion. That kind of defeats the purpose of it happening. You know what I mean?
Which makes it kind of obvious that that isn't true.
Right. That's
So it
for
has the
me
opposite
anyway.
effect. Yeah. So
For
let
me
me ask
anyway.
you,
Yeah.
are these people truly living in their fear? Or are they con op psyop? And are they like part of the bigger system to promote the fear of the masses? Because fearful people are much more easily controlled,
Well,
you know?
and when I was in religion, it was part of, it was okay to use fear to scare people to God. You know what I mean? Not, I
Yeah,
don't want
me
to say
too.
in like
Me too.
not really a psyop sort of way on purpose, but it was like, it's better for you to impart a little fear to someone and then come to Christ than it is to let them go and burn in hell and really go and burn in hell. So, if you're going to need to scare them to wake them up a little bit by talking about hell and things like this, then so be it, because ultimately you're saving a life. You're saving an eternal life, right? So
Yeah.
it
So
wasn't off
it's
the
worth it
table
to
to
scare
use
the
fear.
crap out of people if it gets them into church, if it fills the pews,
Yeah.
right?
So ultra religious people, they see the Mandela effect happen, they're like, finally, something that really scared a bejesus out of somebody. Look, the scriptures are changing. You better come back to, God or
That's
religion.
interesting
Yeah.
because factually, there's a lot of hidden history, and there's a lot of hidden history channels
Yeah.
popping up that are doing an absolute amazing job. One of them I know you watch is Robert Seffer. Is that his name? Atlantean Gardens, and he's even written books about it. And in 1666, there are a lot of changes done to the King James Bible. So I think we might have been getting a lot more emphasis on the 666 in 1666. So a very unusual Jewish sect, not the Jewish people or the Jewish religion, called the Sabbateans, decided with one flippin' rabbi, that it was easier to control people through sin than it was to control them through righteousness. So they created, this whole, a lot of people refer to it as the synagogue of Satan. And it's this, they did it outwardly for like 100 years until they started to be rounded up and executed. So then they had to practice it underground, quietly. And it was basically controlling people through sin, like giving them prostitutes, giving them drugs, giving them lots of alcohol, giving them all the outlets that they need to practice sin in order to control them, their movements, what they did, where they spent their money, how they spent their money. And unfortunately, even though this is an extreme little group, yeah, the some of the bankers, some of the European bankers were Sabbateans, and they knew they had to practice it on the quiet, which is why all the celebrities go shh. It's all shh, shh. Don't tell anybody what we're doing. And unfortunately, that little group seemed to get a hold of all the media, all the movies, all the TV, all the computer games, and then really got a hold of not only finance and industry and energy, but government,
Yeah,
you
because I
know,
was sitting here thinking this totally sounds like
government.
CIA stuff here. The
Yeah.
way they supposedly worked with uh, Hugh Humphrey, and they would bring in people, get them on videotape doing certain things, and then you got them
Yeah,
for
yeah,
life.
yeah.
Because
Find out what their sin is, and then get them on video while they're doing it.
then
Yeah.
you got them for life. They'll always keep quiet because they don't want their sins to be exposed and ruined.
Hoover. Was it Hoover, the head of the CIA, who did that?
I just heard that Hugh Humphrey, the Playboy Mansion guy, was a CIA asset and would do that. He would invite
Hugh
celebrities.
Hefner.
Hugh
Hugh
Hef,
Hefner. And
yeah, Hugh Hefner, yeah.
the head of the CIA did it. He established the CIA. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Hoover? Was it Hoover?
Herbert Humphrey? I don't
I
know.
don't know. We're terrible with names here. Somebody's going to go in there and go, it's this one, it's that one. They'll
Yeah.
tell us. They'll
Help
tell
us
us in the
out,
chat.
somebody. Yeah, because it was back in the day of Kennedy, the first, JFK and all that. That he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I'm just not good
So
with names.
anyway, it's good to know that that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a very small sect. They started in 1666 in London. How interesting. They spread out all over the world, and they're still doing it secretly, but not so secret anymore. So that was it. After we did our truth meditation last week, did you guys? Oh yeah. Did you guys see Celine Dion's new baby line?
Oh yeah.
It just came out last week. Now, did it only come out for me in my world, or is everybody seeing this? Because she's created, not her, but a couple of Sabbateans in Israel, by the way. There's a couple of women who run the company from Israel. Not that Israel's all bad, okay, guys? This is a small group of people. And it's all demonic baby clothes.
Herbert Hoover. Thank you,
Herbert
Ronnie.
Hoover. Thank you. Who was that?
Ronnie in Florida.
It figures it was Ronnie in Virginia. Um, do you have information at your fingertips, Ronnie, or is it all stored up here? And dead
Are you
GPK, he
Googling
comes up
really
with a lot.
fast? She might be Googling really fast.
I don't know. I think she's
That's not
smart.
a game show, though, so it's fine. If you
I think
Googled it
she's smart.
as a mod, that was an excellent thing to get us that answer. So, no, I think she knew it, though. I really do.
Yeah, I think so too. So yeah, anybody see? Hello, did anybody look up the Celine Dion commercial for her demonic baby line of clothes?
Yeah, I've
This
heard
is
about that.
out in the open. This is truth. This is like revealing the truth when you see Celine running around with a black bag, a baby snatching bag with a Knights Templar cross on it, going through a baby maternity ward and taking all the pink off the girls and all the blue off the guys and putting them all in black and white with skulls and stars and horns.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
No, I saw it.
This is real.
And New Order on the shirt instead of New World Order, the New Order on
Yes,
there. And
new order.
yeah, I
New
was looking
order,
at it
baby.
and I was thinking, I was like, man, it's like no matter what, people have to take an idea and go to an extreme that's like worse than what we were originally dealing with.
But
You,
this is
you
the
know?
Sabbateans coming out in the open.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, darn it. All those truthers on YouTube have exposed us. Let's just do it out in the open. Oh, did you just see it this week? Because I did too.
Yeah.
Did you?
I
After
think it
we
was.
did the truth
I
meditation.
think for me it was someone mentioned it in the last Friday night's call in. Somebody mentioned
Okay.
it, so it would have been the night before.
Like the
But
day before. So it's
yeah,
all like right around the time.
yeah,
That's pretty in your face Satanism. But we all know it anyway, right? And we don't harp on it. We don't get upset about it, but we got to fix it. But we got
yeah.
to fix it with humor and love and compassion and not go, oh, this is so scary. I'm just going to go,
Mm-hmm.
not look at what Celine Dion is doing for babies. I'm like, it's so in your face.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Unawake people.
And it's like, and it's like I was sitting there thinking, if it was rainbows or something, I think I would have been less
Okay, yeah, thought that'd be more transgender because the
troubled
rainbow
about
is
it,
now
you know?
transgender. Yeah.
And it would be colorful. It would be baby-like because babies, I don't know, why would you, babies love patterns and colors and, they love to look at that stuff with with
Yes,
their
and
new
now they said
eyes.
they're
And
taking over unicorns, which are the rainbow ponies with phallic symbols on their forehead. That's the latest. We're going to see lots of unicorns everywhere.
right. But I could see going because then it's like rainbows, and I like rainbows. I'm not bothered that it was hijacked.
I
For
like
me, I'll
rainbows.
always love rainbows. So,
Yes.
but like I think with kids and stuff, you would just think it would be more colorful. Why not have it more
And then they
colorful?
even put little demons in the bassinets with the babies. Little demons just sitting with the babies. It was like, really? I love it. It's in your face. It's no longer being hidden. But are people going to wake up and go, "Oh, I don't like that, Celine"? No. That's taking it too far. And then, of course, I saw this GMC. Does that sound right? Morning program. Good Morning America, right?
Yeah.
Had an 11-year-old boy do a live transvestite. When you go to those clubs and all the guys are dressed up in high heels and wigs up to here and makeup.
Yeah,
They
drag
had a
queen.
drag queen. They had an 11-year-old boy do a drag queen, um, write down like a catwalk for them. And all the people in the audience were like normal, mid America, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Smith. And they were like, "Ooh, goody! Wow." And I was like, really? This is like child abuse. That's a child. It's an 11-year-old boy. Let him, if he's sexually oriented, let him do that privately. Don't dress him in a wig this high down to his butt with heels this high and make up like a clown and make him strut up and down a catwalk live on Good Morning America so that middle America can eat its cornflakes, drink its coffee, and go, "Oh,
And
wow."
I think that's a lot of the programming, because you're sitting there and you're sort of taken aback by the whole thing, wondering
Yeah.
how should I react to this? Oh, well, look at the audience. This is how you should react. You should be happy at what's happening. Oh,
The
okay. It's
comments, though,
programming.
if you
You know.
read the comments, and Good Morning America, it was their YouTube channel, and the comments, not a single good one. And there were comments from the gay community going, "This is wrong. This is just wrong. Please don't do this." It was almost like the gay community felt offended by it because they're taking a child and children should be protected and not utilized as drag queens.
But there is a push to normalize younger
Yeah,
and younger weirdness going on, with
there
younger,
is.
underage and adults. And, well, that's what I heard. We're going to see this push towards that because they're not going to change the older people's way they
Okay,
are. So
guys,
they can
there's a
only work on the
handful of
youngest.
people. There's a handful of people with the money and the power to do this. And there are billions of us, at least 300 million of us in America. We push back. We push back and we say, no, not on my watch, not in my face. And I mean, really, one of the most powerful mechanisms you have is boycott. Turn it off. Don't watch GMA anymore, and don't buy the product. Whatever
Hmm.
product is
Is being
using children
advertised or.
sexually, yeah,
Mhm.
don't buy the product. Don't turn on their programming, and then they'll be like, "Oh my God, it's not working. What are we going to do now?" Because then their ad revenue dries up.
You think that's a reason they're doing it? You think it's for to create this shocking viral video because maybe viewership's already down? I know I'm not watching it.
I
Most of the.
don't know. It could be that. Or is it that they've decided that they've been outed so much with their pedophilia and their stupid satanic crap little practices?
Yeah.
They basically do what we do with the intention, the power of human intention, but they do it sickly and darkly. We do it lovingly and openly. So is it because they're fading away and they're trying to shock us into participating? Or is it because we've outed them and now they're going to out themselves and go, yeah, come on, guys, let's all do this. This is normal.
Very good points.
Dress your kids up and let them participate in, sexualized shows. I don't know. I don't know, but those two things came to me this week after we
The
did our
truth.
truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when the truth comes out, it's going to be a dark time before we get to the bright time because, like whenever you like move the couch and you get all the stuff that's got
Oh, it's
stuffed under
dirty.
there and
It's
it's
dirty under
dirty.
that.
You got to clear it out before you can clean it up. And so it's
God, what a
like
great
that.
analogy.
It's going to be
Guys,
like
go
that.
in the fridge. I actually
Yeah,
know people who move their fridge and clean under it. It's not me. Trust me, when I move out of a house, if I've been somewhere 10 years, you do not want to move my fridge.
right. Yeah, tons of dust and grime, and where the water leak. Yeah, it's real nasty. But yeah, it's gonna get nasty before it gets clean because you've got to
Okay,
reveal it. It's got to be exposed before you can
you're in
clean it.
great company because Dr. Bruce Lipton says the same thing on his videos. Every time something big happens, he's like, awesome, great. We're shaking it up, folks. We got to, shake it up to tear it down to build up the new.
Yeah, and I think we're
So
seeing that. That's why we
that's
want the
pretty
truth to be exposed, so we can clean it up and move to something better. Totally.
cool. We're going to do water.
Water. 5D water. I like that.
5D.
Wait. Yeah.
I did my sound instead of my video. I knew I'd do that someday. I'm going to have some water first, guys. Anybody else going to have some water first?
That actually sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna have some
Doesn't it?
water.
It's good for the vocal cords.
Yeah.
I need to drink more. I'm always like a little dehydrated. I need to drink more.
That's good.
Okay, so if we can all just take a nice, relaxing, deep breath in and get comfortable while you're doing that. And on the exhale, exhale out any negativity in and around you in your home or at work. And on the next deep breath in, hold it for a few seconds. And then on the exhale, let out any worries that you might have had this week or today. And finally, on the third deep in breath, taking it in, letting your tummy expand because you're breathing in so deeply. Hold it. And on the exhale, just exhale out any discomfort or soreness or tightness that you might be holding in your body anywhere. And now we're just going to gently start to breathe in through our heart chakra and out through our heart chakra. And as we do that, we'll continue to breathe in comfortably through the heart and exhale out through the heart. And you guys know the routine now. Start picturing a color coming in with the in breath and being exhaled out on the out breath. That color can be any color that you choose that works for you right now, here in this moment. And let that color come in and fill up your entire body from head to toe, down your arms, down your fingers, down your legs, down your toes. And exhale it out. And as you bring that clear, clean, energizing, positive color in through your heart chakra, this time on the exhale, let it fill up a bubble of light all around your body, above your head, around your face, behind your neck. Let that bubble of light fill up gently with the color of your choosing, around your body, around your torso, around your legs, even around and under your feet. And once that bubble is set with a beautiful, clear, clean light, that is your protection while you entrain your hearts, entrain your minds with a common goal, a common prayer, a common intention. And tonight, we are going to be intending on clearing up water, but I almost forgot. Let's shoot a grounding cord down first from our root chakra all the way down into the center of the earth, where it opens up like a tree and we are firmly, securely grounded. And also, let's just each picture a wonderful time. Let's do what Lynne McTaggart suggests and imagine doing something that we absolutely love doing. So just sit with that for a few moments now. And what does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Are there any tastes involved? Are there other people involved? Is it a party? Um, are you skiing? Are you swimming? Are you boating? Are you babysitting? Are you gardening? Whatever it is that makes you feel extremely happy, that you love doing, just immerse yourself in that right now to get that heart entrainment, that joy, that love. And now, when you're ready, if you like, just picture the water in your body, just the water in your cells, being clear and clean. Every single cell, every single minute amount of water, which is really an energetic plasma because it's made up of electromagnetic waves that are just a little bit thicker than air. Air is also a thinner, finer electromagnetic plasma all around us. And we've got the stars, which are also made of electromagnetic plasma, and the sun, which is very, very cool energy that heats up as the light enters our atmosphere, it heats it up, much like we heat up meteors that are shooting through our sky and comets. So think about all the water, all the plasma in your body. And now imagine that clear and clean. And now imagine the water running out of your taps. Water running in your kitchen sink, your showers, your bath taps, your sink taps. Now open the taps full, 100% in your mind, in all the sources of water that come directly into your home. And now see that water pouring forth clear and clean. That not only benefits you, but it benefits everybody in your household. All your family, all your pets, even your visitors are going to be drinking clear, clean water when they're in your home. And now let's extend that out a little bit and let's imagine the water that flows at our workplaces or where we spend our daytime activities outside of the home. There are taps there that we may come in contact when we wash our hands or when we drink, or there's a favorite place where we like to go get a coffee. Imagine their water. Open the taps full and just see and hear that pure, clear, crystalline water just pouring through the taps where you spend your time and you come in contact with that water. And if you like, extend it a little bit further now and imagine the lakes and the rivers, maybe a waterfall, a pond in your community. Maybe it's the ocean, maybe it's the Gulf of Mexico, maybe it's a huge lake like Lake Michigan. And now, although those waters have their own natural colorings based on the organisms that live in it, that it is home to, so it might be colored a little bit green, it might be colored a little bit blue, maybe brownish, without disturbing the organisms in the water and without disturbing the natural, clear, clean coloring of that water. Simply imagine that water in your community being pure, clean, healthy for all of the organisms inside of it. And when you're ready, we're just going to go one step further tonight. We've done this before. We're going to imagine the whole planet. We can see it in our mind's eye, whether you think it's flat or round or square, triangular. I kind of see the planet now as waves, like a hologram, like a simulation and a hologram now. So I always kind of see it as something that's a bit see-through. That's the way I see things now. Maybe that helps with my intention because if it's not solid, I can change it easier. I can help it, help heal it, improve it. So let's just picture the world, the earth, any way that is comfortable for you. And now let's picture all of the water on the earth, all of its oceans and streams, lakes, mountain water frozen, dripping down to fill up the rivers, the rain that's coming through the clouds, the water that's being cycled underground, the aquifers, the water that's going through human-made treatment plants to come out of taps, the water in the air, the humidity, the little tiny wee little particles of water that are all around us all the time. Imagine all of the water on planet Earth, in planet Earth, around planet Earth, being clear and clean and healthy. Healthy, clear, clean water for the best possible outcome for all concerned. And just hold that image, what that feels like for you. And it's done. So you can say in your mind or out loud, thank you, I love you. And it might be a good idea that when you serve water to yourself or your family, or you're going to cook with it or bathe with it, that you say to the water, thank you, I love you. Because that lets the water know, which is made up of waves of electromagnetic energy, that you actually love and appreciate that water. And that's going to hold the clearness and the cleanliness in your water around you at all times for the best possible outcome for your life, your family's life, your pets' lives, your friends, your community, and all of humanity. Thank you. I love you. And when you're ready, just kind of move about a bit. Open your eyes. There, I'm back.
Awesome. Yeah, I took a drink before. I just took a drink now, and I
I've
must
got
say
food. I've only got a little left.
it was much more tasty at the end.
Let me
So
see. Yeah. Doing a water commercial. You know what you can do? If you, even a plastic jug, okay, or a glass jug is preferable, or even your coffee mug, you can write on it, thank you, I love you, thank you, I love you. Or you can write health, peace, prosperity, well being, and then you put your water in it, and then even subconsciously, without saying thank you, I love you, which really supposedly energetically cleans it. Boom. Now it's good for you, right? And we can't think of doing that every 10 seconds, right? Not most of us. You just write it on the bottom and then it's there subconsciously. Every time you take a drink, you're saying thank you, I love you to your water. You're clearing it and cleaning it with Ho'oponopono.
yeah, and we're 2/3 water. The Earth's 2/3 water. There's a lot
The
of water.
sky might be 2/3 water
Yeah,
in the form of plasma.
yeah,
They're saying that all that energy out there, the 90% that we can't see, is invisible plasma, which is kind of like a water. It's an electric water.
yeah. I think water's a good one. I know that Roger Prescott will appreciate that one because he always does these cool things with water and always talks about, because everybody needs water. It's like one of those things. We bathe in it, we drink it, we are
Oh,
it.
God.
So,
Water is life.
yeah, it
It
really
really
is.
is. Without water, forget it.
And when they're out looking in space, they're like, we found water, we found life. They know that it's directly connected with life. So
To
whenever they
life.
find water somewhere, they know there's going to be life there because it's like the life bringer.
Yeah, and apparently it's on all the planets now. I'm like, you know what? When I was a kid, that's not what they taught us. But that doesn't mean that I shifted and it's a Mandela effect because maybe they didn't know when I
Yeah.
was a kid what the truth was. And now they know there's water on all the planets, all the moons, most of them anyway.
Yeah, I like the water topic. And that's
Me
one that
too.
we can do all the time that I think, even as we move into the fifth dimension and we've got,
Oh, I forgot to say 5D water. That is 5D water. It
yeah,
is.
yeah. Yeah,
It is.
no, it's good. It's good.
And the other thing is a quantum jumping tool. You take two coffee mugs, and on one, on the bottom with the permanent marker, you can rub off a coffee mug. It doesn't ever become permanent. So, those little black Sharpie things. You write what the current state is. It could be your housing, your job, your bank account, your relationship. You just write around the bottom what it is and put it down like on paper because while it's wet, it will stain countertops, okay, until it dries. Then you take another clean coffee mug and you write on the bottom of it what you want it to be. How would you like your relationship to improve? Your job, your finances, your home, whatever, your body, your weight, whatever. Okay. And then you get clear, clean water and you tell your water that you love it and thank you. And you pour a little bit of water into your current situation. And you pick that up and you go, this is my current situation. Thank you. I love you. You bless it because no matter what your current situation is, there are reasons for it being there and it's a blessing. Okay, you don't drink it. And you say, as I'm pouring it into my new situation, it is becoming this. Whatever you've determined this to be, you drink it because that water's been charged, the old turning into the new. You drink it and you say, thank you, I love you.
I like that. Yeah, Jamie sent me a video like that. That was really cool. So,
Yeah, it's not mine. This isn't mine. In fact, I think Jamie sent me the same video at the same time, and I've actually been doing it.
oh, okay. Probably, yeah, he sends us both stuff all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Jamie's
And I've
awesome.
seen a couple of other people now on videos are doing the water quantum jumping technique. So it's out there. Everybody's, doing this using water, which is like, if you do you take homeopathic medicines ever, Shane?
Mm, like what?
It, like, I've got the whole kit. I've got the whole case where it's like the cell salts, magphos, ferrimphos, calimur, and then arnica, apis, nux vomica. There's like hundreds of them.
Oh, okay. Not that I know of.
And
That's
for hundreds of years, what they do is they put the opposite of what you would think you need. Like if you're vomiting, they'll take a plant that causes people to vomit, and then they'll shake it in water until there's like 1 million particle, however they do that. There's just the essence of the plant is left in the water. None of the plant is left in the water. Then you take that under your tongue. And the reverse in nature is supposed to cure you of it. And it really does work. I mean, they've used it a lot on animals, homeopathy. They use it a lot in England. Like the royal family's totally into homeopathy. So is Germany,
it's kind
England.
of like immunizations,
Yeah, without going into the bloodstream
right?
and without aluminum and DNA from fetuses and all that other crap they put in there. Yeah, it's kind of like a little immunization. And you put it under your tongue and you let it dissolve. Well, that's been shaken in water for so long that they've decided that water holds memory and it remembers the attributes of the plant. So it's like eating the whole plant, but you don't eat the plant because the plant would kill you. It could be poisonous or you make you sick.
What was that study? Was that you that sent me something about that where they kept reducing the amount of it, but when they basically had nothing left in it, it still remembered it or whatever? Was that you?
Yeah.
That? Yeah, that's
Yeah, it was a
amazing.
video on water has memory. So they
Yeah.
know that water has memory. So imagine being around people who say, you're stupid, you're fat, you're never going to be anything. Your poor little body as a kid is made of water and it's got memory and it's sucking all that stuff up. So, it's really a good thing that we've decided our words have power, our thoughts have power, our feelings have power, because then we can be more choosy in how we, what's the word, wield our words.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you think about the history of mankind and all the dark periods we've been in, that's a lot of bad memories locked in the water.
Yeah,
So if we can
that's
release
that's
that,
locked into our DNA, isn't it?
yeah,
But in a way, we are releasing that now because sometimes people go to me, "Oh my God, how can you be so positive and happy to be here? It's a horrible place." And I'm like, "No, I think in the Middle Ages it might have been worse, especially if you were a poor peasant, you know?"
I think it's a
So
good time to be
you
alive.
could
I would have
choose
been
between starvation or disease. Which one would you like?
I would have been killed multiple times over by now for some of the things I've
Oh
said.
yeah, because
So,
we're the heretics. I
right.
would have been the witchy poo giving herbal remedies to people, going, "Here, try a little bit of this, try a little bit of this."
Oh, thanks so much, you guys. Paul and Ronnie, you guys are beautiful people. Thanks for being here. And there's Olivia. We were talking about you
We
earlier
were
if you
talking
missed it.
about you earlier. You're going to have to go rewind.
So yeah, this is awesome, and I really think we've talked about the Heart Math Institute quite a bit, but I've been going through a lot of their research as I've been researching the Schumann resonance and everything, our connection with all that, and I've been working on this video, and those people over there are awake. I mean, it's like Lynne McTaggart type people that they get it. They
Yeah.
get
They're
the
scientists and they're awake.
yeah, and they actually are doing research like you and I would do, like the type of things to try to find these connections of how we affect other people by just the mood we're in, and how you can change the atmosphere of a room when you go into it. Say it's like
Hmm.
a business meeting and it's real tense because people are maybe arguing over the way something should go, and it can get really tense, but just a few people can shift the whole energy of the room
Hmm.
using their intention, and
Hmm.
lighten and
And
it
their
really,
words.
yeah, and it works on an individual level, as we might be in a waiting room and not talking to anyone, but I think they measured up to 5 foot away that your heart intention that you're putting
Hmm.
out affects
Hmm.
people around you.
And
And
that's normal.
yeah,
After you've done a meditation like ours, they can measure at 35 feet, 50 feet,
yeah,
300 feet. You know, what we
yeah,
just did powered our hearts up.
yeah, and to see
But
how it
normal is
can,
like 5 feet.
yeah, and to see how it can work on the individual level, then the small group setting, and then even the larger setting in the world, you start to see this picture of how much just a small group of us can change the entire world and our entire reality. It
Yeah, it
doesn't take
doesn't
that
take
many
much,
people.
does it? It doesn't like, didn't they say less than, I don't know where, I don't know if it was heart maths, but one of these groups said less than 7%. If you can get 7.5% of people to practice a new thought, then forget it. The whole of humanity will be practicing it soon.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Seven out of 100? That's small. And
and it
maybe
was
really it's only three.
yeah, and they were saying that even just taking 2 minutes a day, if everybody that's sort of waking up to this realization of the true science behind this would just take 2 minutes a day to just put love into the earth. Just only 2 minutes. They said you would see changes, just phenomenal changes.
So you guys give Heart Mass Institute some love. Go subscribe to them because I read all of their books, most of them. They've written a lot of books, but I've read most of their books 20 years ago.
Hmm.
And when we do the heart breathing, that's heart maths. When
Yeah,
we breathe in through the heart and exhale through the heart, that's thanks to heart maths. I've always given them credit for that. And when we entrain our hearts and
yeah.
think of a beautiful place, that's heart maths. This is a bunch of stodgy scientists sitting around um, discovering love and discovering what the heart does on love,
Yeah,
you
the
know?
coherence that happens when,
The coherence.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's amazing. So
it is amazing. I love the heart maths group.
So a lot of times we think of scientists as being sort of these asleep people that are doing these experiments and stuff, but there are some wide awake people.
They're very interesting to look at too. Have you seen them?
No, I just read the articles and the research papers and things
Yeah,
like that, but
they're really cool. They're kind of hippie-ish looking and sounding. They have real southern accents. One of them does anyway. The really cool hippie guy with the glasses
I need to
and
get
the
one of
short
those on
hair.
the show. One of the people.
Yeah,
I
they
think it'd be
are
cool.
amazing, and they are the first to really, God, when did I start reading them? Maybe 30 years ago. They were the first to come out and say what you feel matters. What you feel changes your body, changes your life, and changes everybody around you. And they've not gotten a lot of credit because now it's like really popular and nobody goes to heart maths. But I always felt that heart maths, maths, kind of put people off because nobody likes math. So if it was like Heart Wisdom Institute, I'd be right in there, but I found them anyway.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, but it's very scientific, just like Lynne McTaggart stuff. We talk about her
Yep.
stuff all the time. Very scientific.
She
I
knows
mean,
those guys. She uses
it's
a lot of their stuff.
it's repeatable science. These things that are, people that don't know, it's like woo woo. It's like, oh, you're just, it's optimistic thinking and stuff like that. But it's
It's
not.
measurable.
It's
It's
measurable,
measurable.
repeatable, measurable
They have
science.
meters that can measure, like if five people sit in a room and do what we just did, they measure those meters on their fingers that show their heartbeats start to beat as one. All of a sudden, all five of us sitting in a room will start to have the same heartbeat because we're focusing on the same intention. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh yeah, they've even extended the research to like groups of 20 all over the world and stuff, and found that it was the
Oh
same.
yeah,
Like,
space doesn't matter.
yep, it's
Entanglement.
yeah,
Space doesn't matter.
and it's
So
like
when
the
we,
Earth is what connects us all. It's really amazing how it
yeah,
all works because it's
yeah,
tied in
the
with the
Schumann
Schumann.
resonant
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And I
exactly.
found a new channel. I don't know the name of it yet, but I'm going to send it to you this week. She measures magnetic pole shift. That's what she does. She tracks it every day. So I'm definitely going to send that to you because
Mm.
I know you're really kind of into watching the Schumann. And now you get to see where the magnetic pole is going. So apparently, she's got pictures of it. It doesn't go like this over Russia, right? It goes up, down, left, right, up, down. Then it goes down. It makes little squigglies all the way down. It never stops moving.
Hmm, that's
It's
interesting.
totally based on our magnetic shield.
One of the newest videos by Mr. MBB333 was talking about this big earthquake we just had. Up is it Alaska or it was in Canada?
I missed it. I didn't catch it. Was it like, did I miss it a long time ago or just like yesterday?
It's just I think it's just been a little over 24 hours when I watched the
Okay.
video
I'll
from
go see it
today.
tonight
So
then.
so yeah, the I'm talking about the earthquake itself. It was like a little over a day ago, I think that it happened, or a
I
day and
usually
a half
catch it on
ago.
his or Dutch Sense. I love Dutch Sense for
But he was
earthquake
talking
news.
about how the main epicenter was like, here, and then each of the tremors were gradually moving towards the North Pole. There's been like 600
Wow.
aftershocks from this thing. It's
Wow.
crazy. There's this one image he shows where it looks like the ground just twisted like this. You can see this part of the road goes this way,
Yeah,
this part goes this way. But yeah, it's one of his newest videos.
I'm going
Uh,
to definitely go see that
yeah, it's
tonight and do some
amazing.
catch up on
Something
some
going
YouTube
on.
videos.
I think it might be tied
Oh,
with the pole shift or whatever because of
yeah,
the.
this whole, you guys, the magnetic shield, the magnetic pole, the Schumann resonance is all tied to us and the Mandela effect. And it's happening to the whole solar system. All the planets are getting hot and luminous and being pulled and tugged and shaken up right now. So whatever's working on the solar system is working on our minds as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's working on the planet for sure.
totally.
5D Earth, 5D Earth is coming. It's coming fast.
Amen to that. Well, I
Maybe
love you
that's a good
guys
thing
in the
to
chat.
end it on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, Eileen. This is so fun to get together and
I
make these
appreciate you too,
changes.
Shane, and I appreciate all you guys out there
And then to look at the news and see things happening and stuff. So
freaking me out.
let's see what's going to happen with the water now because this is a
Okay,
huge one. This is a huge one that can help
this is a big
everybody,
one.
every
This can
single
help out
person,
everything.
even the so-called enemies, or
Yeah,
it
there's
could help
water in the
everybody.
air. I'm breathing in the clean water.
Totally. Amen to that. Okay, so lots of love to everybody in the chat, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much, Eileen.
Love y'all.
All right,
Bye. Peace.
bye bye. If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.